Greetings and welcome to the Refined Savage. Let's talk about sponsors this week. We have Viking Coffee, vikingcoffee.com. Viking Coffee is some of the best coffee I've ever tried in my life. They make our Refined Savage Old Man Strength brew. If you haven't tried that yet, it is one of their top sellers, obviously, and it is super good stuff. I have a ton of it, and it's just about the only coffee I drink. But their other brands are fantastic, too. They've got like this bourbon barrel aged coffee that's fantastic. Evan Armstrong at Viking Coffee is doing it right. Go to vikingcoffeeco.com and use the code VikingCoffee10 for a 10% discount at checkout. So check those guys out today. Cerberus Strength USA. Cerberus Strength. Let's talk about Cerberus Strength. Cerberus is the name in strongman gear. You'll see their wraps and straps all over strongman competitions around this country, and some of the top athletes in the world are using them. They are excellent. I love their knee wraps or their knee sleeves. I've seen and used their knee sleeves. Good stuff, and I think they'd be great for you Highland Games athletes out there. They're super comfortable, super durable, but yet you can move in them too. So it gives you that nice heat and support you need, but you're still able to move around in them, and that's super important. But you can also check out their wraps and straps and everything else, all great stuff. And you powerlifters out there, check out some of their gear too. They will be invaluable in your training. Your wraps, the knee wraps they have are super strong and durable, and their knee sleeves are awesome too. Check them out. Cerberus-strength.us is the website, and use the code REFINEDSAVAGE10 for 10% off at checkout. Who's taking CBD oil? I know I am. Love my CBD oil. Warrior CBD is one of our sponsors. They are a fantastic company. I take a dropper full of their CBD oil every night. Just a little dropper under your tongue. Relaxes you out, mellows you out, takes the edge off, puts you to sleep faster, relaxes all those muscles. No THC. You don't have to worry about drug testing or anything like that. It's just good, solid CBD oil out of Colorado. Their stuff is fantastic. If you have aches or pains or anxiety or any of that kind of stuff, this will really help you out. I swear by it. They also have a salve like for sore muscles, Warrior CBD salve, and you put it on your sore muscles, and that stuff works well too. I'm a big fan, and as often as I am injured, it is invaluable to have a product like that in my repertoire. If you go to warriorcbdofficial.com and use the code WARRIOR20OFF at checkout, you'll get 20% off your first order. Let's talk about our newest sponsor, SeriousSteel.com. You guys may have heard of Serious Steel because Chad Clark works for them, and let me tell you something. If you don't love Chad Clark, there's something wrong with you. So Chad got us hooked up with Serious Steel. They are a fantastic company. They are just killing it. They have everything you want. I'm on their website right now. They have straps and wraps and knee sleeves and barbells and dumbbells and kettlebells and just everything you could possibly imagine. You could outfit an entire gym with their stuff. They have, if you haven't seen the stone sleeves yet, the leather stone sleeves, they sell those there. It's just a fantastic company, and they just will hit all your weightlifting, strongman, powerlifting needs. So shout out to Serious Steel Fitness for sponsoring. Serious Steel carries a ton of stuff from bands, belts, straps, wraps, sleeves, and all kinds of other great equipment and gear. Check them out at www.serioussteel.com and use the code SAVAGE for 10% off your next purchase. Those are the sponsors for today. Now, on the show today, one of my all-time favorite guests, gentleman, Dollar Bill Boyer. He is a high-level strongman athlete, adventurer, super smart guy. I really enjoyed this conversation. It's one of our better podcasts. I just really enjoyed the conversation, and we had a great time together. And Bill has one of those open invitations on the show anytime he wants to come on. He even brought me some kind of Brazilian, Portuguese, Argentinian steak sauce. So anytime you're bringing me something like that, I'm a happy man. So Hope you enjoy the show, and we'll see you at the end. Dollar Bill, live on the show. Yeah, we were just talking about YouTube. There's so much content on the internet these days. Anything you're interested in, you can just get an education in. And like when I was learning to throw, there was nothing. There was like a couple of videotapes you could buy, but it's so cool that
I taught myself how to lift on YouTube, basically.
Yeah, right.
I did my first competition in 2011. I think back then, Elliot Hulse, if you've ever seen his stuff.
He's in St. Petersburg, matter of fact.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like the only guy with any type of information. Like, I remember his, like, how to press a log, video back then from 2010 or 11. And now there's several hundred videos about how to do a log press, but...
I might actually have to find his. My log press still sucks, so I'm
never it wasn't very... His isn't that great either.
No, he was just
the first one to make a video.
Yeah, he's got a gym down where we're looking to move down, like St. Petersburg, Clearwater, Florida, somewhere down there. He runs, I know they do Strongman stuff, but we haven't stopped in yet. But I'd like to go in there and check him out and see what he's up to. I don't know if he
started as a Strongman guy. Most of his recent videos I know are pretty philosophical in nature, which is cool to see him
evolve.
But I haven't followed it as much recently.
Yeah. So you just did a competition last weekend, right? Or was it 2 weekends ago?
Yeah, it was last weekend.
Yeah.
It was the Steel Town competition in Youngstown, Ohio.
And it wasn't at Sean's, it wasn't at...
it was at Iron Man Warehouse, which is, Youngstown's not that big, so
it's not
right across the street.
Three or four
There's a lot, there's a lot of... Yeah, Youngstown's pretty lucky. I was just talking to someone from Youngstown yesterday. I told them they're pretty lucky to have that many.
Yeah, right.
Between Sean's and there's another CrossFit gym and this Ironman Warehouse, but it went pretty.
Mark, the Power Center there, the
MB Power,
yeah, that place is pretty sick too.
I've never been there. Yeah, it went pretty well. I messed up the deadlift, but I took like first or second place in all the moving events, so I made up a lot of ground there.
Yeah, well, that makes sense that you were practicing those moving events a lot. So.
Yeah, I've got a lot of the other guys that I competed against admitted that that's like what they are bad at.
Right.
A lot of people just like to press heavy and deadlift heavy, and then
you don't.
So like there was an 800-pound tire flip for max reps in a minute. And
what did you get for that?
6.
God, that's moving, man.
It's pretty good.
That's really moving.
Yeah, and everyone was dreading it, but for me, I dread like the overhead events and stuff like that because.
Well, the part of the training program, and you've been doing the Pure program of ours for a while, and one of the things I see, and I've talked about this on the show a million times, is with strongman athletes, it's almost an excuse for them, and powerlifters are a lot like this too, where it's because Thor is 400 pounds, they all feel they need to be as heavy as possible, but they're not 6'9", they're 5'11", and the great thing about strongman in this country is you have all these weight classes. So why not just be as healthy and as fit as possible in a lighter weight class and be as strong as possible in that weight class? So our Pure program, hey, you're going to get Metcons in there and they're going to suck, but they're going to get you healthy and it's going to get you more touches on the implements themselves, which is the whole plan for that.
Yeah. It's always a big mystery of like how in strongman how you incorporate the gym lifts and the strongman movements and the reps in a minute versus max reps. So I think I started about a year ago, and at the time I was probably 15 pounds heavier, and so over the past year basically all my 1 rep maxes have stayed the same, but I've lost like 15 pounds and my conditioning has improved.
That's awesome.
Like greatly. So now that I'm well enough conditioned to get through the workouts easier, so I'm not breathing super heavy.
Right.
And now, so if I, plan to increase calories just like a little bit and try to, then get the strength up now that I'm conditioned well enough to actually.
And that's, I got that from Louis. Louis always preached that you have to be conditioned enough to get more done in the hour of training time that you have. And I don't know how well he always complains on his podcast how his guys don't listen to him and won't do any of the sled dragging or anything like that. But that's kind of where I got that from. Is the better condition you are, the shorter the rest periods, the more stuff you can get in your hour that you're training.
Yeah, before I started doing this, some of my workouts were like 3 hours long, and it wasn't because they were brutal. It was because my conditioning was brutal, and I had to take super long rest periods between.
Yeah.
And I thought the answer to get stronger then was more work, but more work just meant then I'm there 3.5 hours or something like that, as opposed to getting the same amount of work done in a shorter amount of time.
Yeah, and conditioning yourself to get to that point.
Yeah, and then you recover way better. It used to be. Well, the other main thing is so previously I'd done 5-3-1 for years, and then I'd
solid program.
And I did some I just found some Ed Cohen squat programs where it's a 10-week thing, and so it worked, but my strength I could only pull a heavy deadlift twice a year maybe.
Okay.
And it would have to be at the end of that thing, but towards the beginning I wasn't well enough to do it, and so now my strength is way more consistent throughout the year.
Yeah.
I feel like I could pull a heavy, not that I'm going to,
right,
but it used to be that if I have to pull it, I can't do this competition in 5 weeks because my deadlift's not ready.
Right.
But now I feel like I could throw my hat in and do something next weekend if I had to.
Yeah, and that's something I stole from Louis, and I don't. Our power program is pretty conjugate based, but it's I'm less and less inclined to look at any certain programming, even our own, and say this is the way to train. I think you take philosophies and techniques from everybody and do what's best for you and what works best for you. And in 2 years you may not like this program or you want to try something else. And I think and the further you get into this, because you're already pretty accomplished for someone who hasn't been in it that long, I think the further and further you get into this, especially with your brain, you're going to start tweaking things on your own. All of a sudden, you're going to have the Bill Boyer program that this is what works perfectly for me. And it's a mix of 5-3-1 and Ed Cohen and our stuff. And, and it's going to be designed specifically for Bill Boyer and how he trains for competitions. Yeah,
I've added... that's a good point. I think the only other things I add right now, I've been doing a lot of sprints.
That's great.
A lot of weighted vest work.
See, we're going to add. There'll be sprints in the program. I won't put anything in the program that I won't do, and I will not sprint in 45-degree weather.
So my boss at work was a collegiate cross country runner.
Yeah,
and so I love doing this to runners. Is just telling them I can beat you in a sprint because it really grinds their gears.
Yeah.
And so somehow I found myself in this bet for a 400 meter, sprint. I was thinking a 50 meter.
400's a long way.
He was thinking a 2 mile, and then somehow we settled on 400 meters, and then I'm out at the St. Ignatius track close to downtown, and looking at the 400 meters this is a long way around this track. But I was doing them. So once a week I'll go run some sprints. I think I did a 400 in 63 seconds.
That's fast.
Which is pretty good.
That's fast.
So I think I can be a very poor female high school athlete.
So we just talked about this because my son got forced to run the 4x4. He's a shot and disc kid, but he's also the second or third fastest kid on the team. Yeah. And he refuses to run. He's like Jerry Seinfeld. I refuse to run. So they dragged him over, and he ran a 63 400, his split. And Erin's best in high school was 69. So now he gets to give her a little bit of shit, that he's faster than she.
I bet Hazel would beat me, but I don't know. Right there, we're the same.
That's right, he's pretty close.
That's funny. So I've been adding that stuff. Last night it was 40 degrees, but I had my weighted vest on. I was doing. There's this hilly area, or this kind of green, grassy area in the middle of downtown. So I'll throw that on and go do
Where are you talking, over by University Circle kind of place?
No, it's right in the center of downtown. It's on top of the convention center, actually.
Oh, okay.
And it looks out over. No one's ever there. I don't think anyone that lives downtown realizes that there's a nice grassy field.
I've never thought of.
Yeah, no one ever goes.
I
go there and no one's there.
Right.
kind of wondering why no one ever takes advantage of it. But I'll do like a circuit of some squats, lunges, burpees, push-ups, and then I sprint up this hill.
Yeah.
And then do that. And people downtown look at me like I'm crazy because I look like maybe like a SWAT person.
Sure.
Or like I have like explosives strapped to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like in the Die Hard movie where someone's like strapped up with C4 or something like that.
Walking around Vermilion, little downtown Vermilion yesterday, a cop went by me really, really slow. And I've got to, come on. If you were an ISIS terrorist, I don't think you picked Vermilion, Ohio to blow anything up. And I just thought to myself, though, is that what he's looking at? Like, what is on his chest? Because it does look like, little explosive things on there. Like you're strapped up.
Like you're going on a mission.
Yeah. But that's interesting that you do that stuff. And, I mean, when I started dropping pounds... what
do you weigh right now?
I'm at 218, which is the lowest I've ever been. I mean, well, since like college.
Yeah, I was 218 this morning too.
That's awesome, and you feel so much better, right? I mean, I feel like I'm sleeping better. I feel I don't. It's hard after being.
What was your high point?
312.
Wow.
Yeah, and when you're 312, you don't want to look at yourself with your shirt off, no matter how strong you are. And
it's funny too how warped your mind can get to, because I swear there's guys in the gym that are that big, and they think if they drop like 20 pounds, they'll be ripped.
Right.
But really, they would need to drop 100 pounds.
It's delusional, right?
Or there's guys in, I go to a commercial gym downtown, and they, there's guys that are like, oh yeah, I'm gonna cut up a little bit. And I'm like, dude, you have 75. It's not. It would be like a campaign for you to do it, not just a little. Yeah,
it would be an epic journey, and it would suck. And you're delusional, and I was there, and I talk about. We had this girl named Maddie in here who, God love her. She was brutally honest and kind of a pain in the ass, but. She said something to me one time after I'd lost it. I'd gone from like 312 down to like 240, 250. And she said something like, the first time I went to your gym, I didn't want to work out with you because what does this big fat guy know about lifting? And she was fucking dead on, because I knew a lot about lifting, but I wasn't getting any clients because nobody wanted to look like that. It didn't matter that I could deadlift over 700. That's not bringing anyone in the door. So I actually get to work with more people now, and more of the people I want to work with now, and I can't do any of those things anymore, but it's definitely better for business to be lighter, and it's definitely all around better for me. I just feel I feel so much healthier and more mobile, and I don't gross myself out when I walk shirtless past a mirror, It's better for the brain.
Well, I think if you're super strong and 25% body fat, I don't think anybody cares.
Right.
I don't think anybody cares.
Nope. Except for you, because you have that one thing in mind, and you don't need it.
And I think everybody started lifting or working out for at least some aesthetic reason,
right?
Or to feel better.
Yeah.
And then eventually you tell yourself that. I mean, the guys that get super big, it's like, oh, I don't care if I don't feel well, if I don't look good, I don't feel good because my joints hurt all the time. For this goal, but I think if you want to do it, you could do it for as long as you tell yourself there's a short window, whatever. If you're like an elite level person, you're going to chase something, but past that, I think it's pretty delusional.
And I think we always looked at it as mass moves mass, and to throw this weight far, you have to be this heavy. But I think I would have been better at like 265, I think I would have thrown better. I would have been more explosive. I would have been quicker. But, you just tell yourself that you need to get bigger, and it's just an excuse to eat shit and not do conditioning. Or, I would have done some conditioning during my throwing career for sure. I would have done like, you're doing just, body weight stuff and hill climbs and stuff like that. Just, maybe not running miles, but definitely throwing some conditioning in.
It's fun to be able to do that too.
Yeah.
And I got to a point where just other people that I worked with or knew that didn't exercise really at all, but they could go out and just on a whim do a 5K or do some other random thing. And it was pretty embarrassing if you can't just do that. Like, I could see someone sitting there like, how much time do you spend in the gym and you don't...
To not be healthy.
To not be able to do this sort of stuff.
That's one of our things. We run a 5K here you should come out this year. We do a 5K Thanksgiving morning, and we give we do like you have to donate cans of food, and then we take it to the local food bank as your entry fee. But I do it every year because I preach that you should be healthy enough and fit enough that you can run a 5K without training anytime you want. Now, I don't run it fast, but I still can run it. I never stop, or my time was, I think I had gotten down to, I think I was like 240 when I ran it last year, and I was faster than I'd ever run it. You know? So I think that, like you said, you should be able to run a 5K. That especially as an athlete, you should just be able to do that. You should be able to actually run a mile. Yeah. Not shuffle it.
My girlfriend's a competitive marathon runner, so I've been doing a little bit more running.
Yeah, right.
So I'll go do like
She's got the personality to be a marathon runner. She's just like nonstop when you talk to her. You're like, holy shit, this girl's got some energy.
She's got a lot of energy. And I used to not have, I don't know, much respect for runners, but I think it's a lot like other, because most people that are runners, they're not really runners. They just run because that's the only thing they know how to do.
They're joggers.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is just like most gym bros.
Yes.
All they know how to do is like bench and, biceps and abs. And then you find like an actual lifter who programs it, and it's actually treats it like you're training for something. And that's what she does. It's actually programmed out. She does, cross training, she'll do like yoga and boxing and
does she have like
squat.
She has a coach, or does she like find programming somewhere?
She does it for herself.
Does she? Okay.
Has all these books. And
yeah.
It's all, just like, you read Super Training Method or whatever it is. So,
right.
So I've gained a little
kind of self-taught.
Gained some respect for, the.
Well, like you said, there's different levels to everything, and the guys that are. So we talk about the guys, even like Thor and Shaw, who were in their 400 pounds and really killing it. That's taking something that's healthy, lifting weights, and taking it to a far extreme, which probably isn't healthy anymore. There can't be any health benefits to being 420 pounds, and deadlifting 1,000 pounds. But that's taking it to the far extreme. And you look at the hardcore marathon runners who look like they're a skeletal. Form, and that's taking it in the other direction, probably to an unhealthy point. But you can't stay, like you talked about earlier. You chase that goal for a little while, and then you got to get out of it. Like Eddie Hall, he's still humongous, but as soon as he got done, he was like, "I'm dropping." I don't know what. I mean, he's got abs now. I don't know how many pounds he's dropped, but I think that's the best way to go. As soon as you're done, get as far away from that unhealthy part of the sport.
There's a trend now for more, especially like women runners, to have some muscle.
Yeah.
Because I think it helps with overall endurance, not in terms of endurance for a specific race, but endurance for your joints. Just having more muscle around your joints can help. Like that Ross Edgley guy.
Man, that guy is super impressive.
I guess you can't really use him as an example because there's only one of him.
Right.
But he's the guy that swam around
the British Isles, right?
Or, I think the whole thing.
Right, yeah. And he's like 240, 230?
Muscular.
And just jacked to the tits, and he is also like...
And his point of it was that maybe for a single race, he would not do as well as someone that was much lighter. But if you're talking like endurance, because it took him 6 months to do it.
Yeah, right.
You need enough, I don't know, just meat on you to be able to... recover and have enough energy the next day too.
Yeah, and did you see his interview on Rogan?
Yeah.
So I was super impressed, and usually you see guys like that who have these big Instagram followings. You're like, here you go again, another fucking no clue. But he was super intelligent and really understood what made him good, and he had some really contrarian beliefs on strength training and fitness training in general, and it kind of coincided with a lot of what we do, where you can you can improve your endurance, you can get leaner, you can get stronger all at the same time. If that's how you can't just jump right into it, but you train yourself to get to the point where you can improve all these things and keep them moving. And that's a conjugate philosophy, you know, that you don't have a 6-week bodybuilding block and then a 6-week of power block and then a 6-week of strength block. It's all together and you're training together, and it just, you have to be really smart. But that guy is one of the most impressive fitness athletes out there, and I urge people out there that if you aren't following him on Instagram, to check him out. And hey, ladies, he's easy on the eyes. You know, I'm secure in my manhood enough to say that. He's got the dreamy British accent, right? But and then check out that interview on Rogan, because that was really eye opening. I really enjoyed that.
He did like a mile. I show this to my girlfriend every time she gets. I think she did something cool with a marathon.
Cocky.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, well, because he did a marathon, I think, pulling a car.
I saw that. Yeah.
It just when I heard, he was describing it, and he was saying he was hooked up to a car. I'm thinking he's going to say like I did it for a mile.
Yeah, right.
And then he says a marathon. I didn't even. That's outrageous.
Yeah, the things the human body is capable of, and I love these guys. Aaron always says that, especially programming we do on Saturday mornings, the concept that brings us to get these workouts is, I bet you can't do that. You know, like my whole training system is based around, I bet you can't do that. I dare you to do that. Yeah. You know, that's kind of what he does. He does a lot of shit like that. I think it's more, that's not his training program, but it's kind of like, here's something outrageous that I can do because of my training program. You know, it's more of a show off thing, which is cool because it gets people to his sites and shows what he's capable of, which I love. He does it in a way that's pretty fantastic. He's one of those guys I'd like to someday run into and have a sit down with, because he's something else.
So are you writing right now?
I'm writing, yeah, and it's
writing.
It's a good question, Dollar Bill. So
I don't know if it's secret or not.
No, it's not. It's it started out as I was going to put down a training program, and but the more and more I think about it, is I didn't want to put down a training program, because what we do, I don't even consider a program. It's just it's a way of training that I think is more creative, and it's not something that I can set down and say, this is what you need to follow for the next 6 weeks. And I didn't want to bill it as that. So now it's more of a collection of training philosophies, and has some humorous stories mixed in. And
I think that's great. I think it's better.
You know?
Yeah, it's better. It's more. It lasts longer.
Yeah. It's not 5-3-1, and right. You know, 5-3-1 is, I always talk about 5-3-1 is a great solid program, but you've seen my program. I can't put it into words like that. You know, it's me sitting there all week thinking about what we're going to do next week, and then trying to be as creative as possible to put that together. And there's a lot of it in there that encourages people to use their creativity, and here's some exercises we do, and there's going to be some examples of workouts we do. And, you know, here's how you can play with them. And it's a lot of my thinking on the Strongman events for training in general, not just to become good at the Strongman events. And so we're going to see. I'm actually, I have to get it done. I've got to do a talk at Ashland's Strength and Conditioning Clinic next year, which is a really big honor to be asked to do that. I think that Strength and Conditioning Clinic in the next couple of years is going to be the biggest thing in the country. I just think they've figured it out, and they're getting these guests in there, and they asked me to speak. And just like with the book, I got to figure out what exactly the talk is going to be about, and trying to, I think it'll be more of a, this is a contrarian way of doing things with your athletes, maybe, that you haven't thought about before. So I'm going to figure that out. But yeah, the book...
writing's hard.
It's very difficult. And
I've always been fascinated by it, because I do a ton of like business type writing, but other than school or for work, I've never written. But I've always been fascinated by people that do.
Yeah.
And the other fascinating, even authors and writers, I don't think that any of them would actually say that they enjoy it. Even the people that do it professionally.
Right. You're probably right.
But it's this, I don't know, like a more cerebral, mental thing that, you know.
I have to put it, so I've got my notepad next to my chair every day where I write stuff that I have to get done for that day. And I have to put it on there every day, or I won't do it. I'll find a reason not to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And the way I started it is I just sat down and I wrote for like a half hour, and I just tried to just write and not worry about, is this poetic sounding, or is this the grammatically correct?
Is it just you on a laptop?
It's just me on this laptop going at it, and then I come back later to it and try to play with it and move things around. Oh, that doesn't sound right, or that's not what I was trying to say. And the chapters that are actually more humorous were the easiest ones to write, because it was like, I lived this, and this is what happened next, and yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, you know where it ends.
Right. And most of them I've told the stories to people, just in bars or whatever, so I just wrote them down. But now it's going back through, and I still have to write some chapters to kind of wrap things up or tie things together, but the majority of the meat of the book is done now, and I just am going back through and editing and things like that. And then I'll send it, after I'm done editing it, to someone who actually has some grammatical skills. It doesn't sound like a caveman, and will actually do it better. I won't send it to Aaron. I was eventually going to have Aaron do it, but I think it would end up in a fist fight. Cause I'm really horrible with that, because she's super smart and she has a knowledge. So she'll question, even in my programming, she'll say, well, what are we doing this for? And I immediately get defensive. I'm like, what do you mean, what are we doing it for? Because I said, and it's just like, no, you got to shut up and listen to her. And, she may have a good point here, but I don't know. I think because she is so smart, I automatically get defensive about it,
Yeah. So is this going to be an ebook type?
I mean, we might have ebooks, but I am an old man and firmly believe it's nice to have something in your hand.
I like physical books. I still like physical books.
Yeah. I want to get a photographer in there to take some nice pictures of and we'll probably use people from the gym,
That'd be cool.
All black and white. I want, just artsy. Something that looks nice on your coffee table, $1 bill.
Yeah. That would look good. It's interesting too, because there's not for a while, did you ever have a blog or anything like that? Because I was thinking about opportunities to write, and for a while blogs got really popular.
I had one for maybe a month or two, and then I was like, I'm not going to do this.
I think blogs got replaced by podcasts and Instagram.
Yeah.
Because if you're one of these people who wants to let the world know your thoughts, I think the podcast medium and also Instagram
absolutely
that. So now there's not, because for a while I thought, well, maybe I could have a blog someday. It gives you an opportunity, but no one reads a blog anymore.
You're right.
So I don't know what.
It's just you're shouting into the wind most of the times,
Yeah.
We had Crystal Smith Johnson on the podcast last week, and she's got a blog that's very popular, and I'm going to encourage her to get her own podcast, because she's got this crazy personality and she's super positive, and I think she'd get a lot of people listening to that. She would just talk. And she would probably, and her blog is already very popular, and it's a "What Would Cave Woman Do?" And it's,
like all the blogs I used to, like Tim Ferriss, for instance. I don't know if you've ever
read his Tim Ferriss. Yep.
I followed his blog for years. He doesn't really do anything with it now because he's got this super popular podcast.
Now that I think about it, when we started the podcast, about the time I stopped, I was blogging a little bit before
you
that.
And the rest of the world,
right?
Yeah,
and it's this.
They probably followed your example.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. Right. This medium is going to explode. And it's already exploding, but it's getting guys my age and older to realize that it's a fantastic medium, and you can listen to it in your car. And I was talking to Dr. Paul Ray up in Michigan a couple weeks ago, and I was telling him about Dan Carlin's blog, or Dan Carlin's podcast, and he said, well, I only have like a 5-minute drive to work every day, so You know,
It'll take them a year to listen.
It would, but you know what the great thing is, Doc, is when you get out of your car and then you go to your office, you can still listen, and it just picks up right where you left off. So when I talk to a lot of like professors and stuff, and they aren't listening to like Dan Carlin, which is amazing to me because they're so interested in history, and here's this incredible storyteller giving you, because I had read everything about Thermopylae, and then you listen to King of Kings and it leads up to that, and or these other historical things that you've read about in very dry books, but to hear this storyteller get in and talk with his voice and do it's just amazing that podcast. It surprised me these guys aren't jumping all over it, but
he's super talented.
He really is. I wish he would put shit out more often.
I mean, for a 3-hour podcast, it probably takes him 1,000 hours of research.
Yeah, he said he was reading like 70 books for the one on torture. 70 fucking books for a 3-hour podcast.
That's nuts.
On torture.
Yeah.
That's going down a dark path. Yeah. I can't believe there's 70 books written on medieval torture.
I think in Amsterdam they had like a torture museum.
Yeah.
That was pretty
When
crazy.
were you over there?
That was maybe like 18 months ago.
What was
That's when I had this for the first time, the Salmuera.
Yes. So Dollar Bill has brought me, what is it? Say it again.
Salmuera. Salmuera.
It looks like, I didn't know if it was olive oil or something I was supposed to drink, but it's a steak seasoning, you're saying. Yeah,
it's basically water, salt, garlic, and rosemary, all in a fancy glass bottle. And Salmuera is like the Spanish word for brine. And so if you go to an Argentinian steakhouse in Argentina, or they have one in Amsterdam, they have like a bottle of this sitting at all the tables, and you just pour it on your steak as you eat it. And
now, am I liberally pouring this on my steak, or am I just putting a couple drops on?
I mean, to taste, but I like salt a lot.
So do I.
Yeah, so...
So
I had it for the first time when I was over there. And yeah, salt's great.
Yeah.
It's probably one of the only like supplements I really use anymore.
Did you read I think it was called the Salt Solution?
No.
Why did you start using salt more?
I think I'd heard it probably from Stan Efferding.
That's who I heard it from, yeah.
And then I started, and also when I was eating less. I heard him say once that a lot of people after like workouts, have these carb cravings.
Yes.
But really, it's a salt craving.
Yes.
And if the carbohydrates, they have salt in them, but the carbohydrates help you retain water. But so does salt.
We must have listened to the same podcast about that.
Probably. And so then I started just using more salt. And now the only thing I use, like a Noon tablet.
Mm-hmm.
So which is, have you ever seen those?
Mm-mm.
They come in a little tube, and it's just like a little. It's not a powder. It's a little tablet that then dissolves in water, and it has like 400 milligrams of sodium in that one little tablet. So I just drink that while I work out, and I feel great.
Is it super salty while you're drinking it, or do you notice it?
No, it's.
Okay.
I mean, you mix it with like 16 ounces of water, so it's, and it has like a slight. It has a slight flavor too, so it tastes slightly like fruit punch.
Okay.
But it's not sweet.
Right.
So it's basically like Gatorade with none of the
sugar,
which is so.
For salt. You especially, that's super important.
Yeah, because I'm type 1 diabetic.
Right.
So,
yeah, it was really interesting. I remember the podcast. He was talking about Dan Green. He had Dan Green, the deadlifter.
Yeah, that's
he was
the same one I listened to.
He I had a craving for French fries. I had to go have French fries, and he's like, it wasn't the French fries; it was the salt on the French fries.
Yeah.
And for people out there who are having problems cutting carbs out of your life and things like that, really try increasing your salt intake. It was great for me because, like you, I love salt. So when he said, you're not taking in enough salt, I said, fuck this. Yes! Now I can live my life the way I want to.
Yeah. My blood work's never been better. Because I get my blood work done 4 times a year because of, diabetes. And so it's, basically eating meat, eggs, and vegetables right now, and have a lot of salt. And so at work or other, when you're interacting with normal people, and they always want to ask you like about your blood pressure and all these
Yeah.
other things, and I actually have like the evidence to show that it's the best ever. My HbA1c, or hemoglobin A1c, is like the lowest it's ever been, which is good for diabetics.
Yeah.
And
My
it's-
blood
it's
work
been
is
helpful.
awesome if I could just get that fucking cholesterol down, and it's just and John Meadows told me not even to worry about it. He's like,
Yeah.
he goes, it drives me nuts. If you listen to that podcast with us, he's like, unless it's up into the 400 or 500s, you shouldn't even give a shit about it, And he goes, it's all hereditary anyhow. So I'm on a statin now to get that down. And the first thing I told the doctor was, look, I've trained my whole life. The biggest concerns with these statins is muscle wasting and muscle loss and leg strength. And I said, the minute I start feeling this, I'm done. I'm not going to take them anymore. And she was like, there's like 15 of them. We can switch you around. But I never had any issues or problems.
Yeah, well, good.
Yeah, so I take a half of one a day, and I'm going to go get blood tested next week. And now it's like a competition.
Yeah.
Because all my numbers are so great. My liver function and my blood pressure is super low, which in my family, is not a normal thing. But if I could just get that fucking cholesterol down, it's like I've almost...
It's like, it's a new game.
It's a
Seeing
new
those
game.
results.
It's a new competition. I was going to just jump to a whole pill, and I'm like, no, just do what they say until we see what it says. So all I'm looking for is I'm not looking to go from, I was at 300 last time. I'm not looking to go down to like 150, but if there's progress, I'm going to be happy,
Yeah.
So
Just do a 60-hour fast before. I don't know.
Why?
I don't know. I think if you fast for longer,
It might. I don't know.
because you're required to do like a 12-hour?
12-hour fast, I think, which is nothing for me because I normally do 16 every day anyhow.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So I do that too.
How long have you been doing that?
About a year. About the same time I started eating a lot more, meat and less carbs.
How's it working for you?
It works great.
Yeah.
It's like a magic pill.
Yeah, right.
Because it's the first time ever that I've, like, over the past year, my, conditioning and strength has improved while decreasing body fat, while and for diabetes especially, it makes it so much easier to manage. Because I do less than 20 carbohydrates per day now, and so I don't have to worry about it just as much. It would be like, imagine you had a bucket and it had a spout at the bottom, and then you always had to keep the water level between this small band. Okay. And you could release water out of the bottom. And then all day you're constantly pouring glasses of water in the top. So every time you pour a glass of water in the top, you have to release a little bit of water out the bottom. And then you pour water in the top, and then you have to release a little bit of water. And yeah, you can do it, but it's just hard.
Right.
So what if you just stopped pouring water in the top?
Right.
So then you wouldn't have to, that's kind of what it's like.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
If I eat carbohydrates, I have to give myself insulin, and you never know how long the insulin's how quickly it's gonna hit you, or how long it'll be active in your system for, or how much to take. And then by the time you get that figured out, you're doing a workout, so you don't know, and then
Constantly
then
balancing.
you do more carbs, and so it just kind of bounces around.
Yeah.
So by just not eating many carbohydrates at all, and by not eating for 2/3 of the day, there's so many fewer variables.
Do you throw in like a 24-hour fast every once in a while?
No, I've never done that.
I've done it. One of the and it's because I'm a psychopath. I like the discipline of it too. It's like I don't need to eat. I can go.
Yeah.
Well, I've already gone 18 hours. Well, I could go a few more and get to 24. And those are the times I've done it. I've never planned a 24-hour fast, but it's like, I'm just going to see how long I can go. And usually by 24, I'm ready to eat. But that's, to be honest with you, I don't know
how
that
you could.
Exactly. So, if I'm stuck somewhere where my choices are shitty food or no food, I can just go no food and I'll be fine, and I don't get hungry.
It's been helpful. Right. I used to be, at one point I was trying to do kind of like the bodybuilder style 7 meals a day.
Yes.
And I remember one of the first times I came out here, I had to wake up at super early so that I could eat my first meal of eggs and Ezekiel bread, and so that
right.
then I could have like a second meal on my car ride here.
Yeah.
And so then by the time I got here, I just was like, I had so much food in me. I was so sluggish. Whereas now I just wake up and I'm ready.
And your body's completely changed. You look less bloated, less inflamed.
I was super puffy.
My
My buddies found a picture of me at some wedding from like a few years ago, and But back then I thought I was pretty jacked. But I look back and I was just puffy.
Right.
But now, so now I know that I don't have to eat every. So I was in Nashville on Tuesday for work.
Love Nashville.
And I'd flown in there probably 10 times for work, but I've never actually gotten to see the city. So we did this time.
Yeah.
And, my coworkers, when we get to the Nashville airport, they're grabbing some like crust sandwiches from Burger King, and I just get coffee, and then we go somewhere else, and they're getting snacks, and I just get a water. Diet Coke, and I don't.
It makes life a lot easier.
And before, my mind would have tricked me and like, well, you should eat something now because if not, you'll lose your strength. Or something. But now I know.
Or it's 12 o'clock. You're supposed to eat at 12 o'clock.
Yeah. So I just waited till dinner and then had a big bunch of shrimp and salmon. And
you felt great afterwards. Because you don't have a crust sandwich rotting in your stomach. And that's the other thing is that that people talk about. And there's a lot of people who don't like the fasting, especially for strength athletes. And all I can say is my results. And my results, I love the way I feel. I love the way I live this way. So I don't. It doesn't bug me when I'll hear a podcast like Wellborn hates it on if you ever listen to Power Athlete. Mm-hmm. Wellborn, they make fun of it all the time. Hey, that's great, man. That's your trip. That's it. But all I can say is how I feel, and I feel great. I feel so much better. I'm in control of my digestion, and I'm not constantly throwing shit on top of shit on top of shit. Because if you eat breakfast at 10 a.m. and you eat lunch at 1, you're probably not done digesting the first load of crap that's in your body, and then you're pouring more food and you're doing snacks in between, and it's just this constant barrage of your stomach and intestines having to deal with more and more food. And now it's like when I eat my first meal usually at 1 o'clock after a 16-17 hour fast every day, and I'm hungry but not like starving, but I eat, and I don't have to eat a huge amount of food. I eat a regular sized meal, and then maybe 6 hours later, I eat dinner, and that's it, and I'm done.
Yeah.
And if I do overeat at one of those meals, it's okay because I'm not going to eat for a way long time after that. It gives it time to just digest. And
I think some people have the ability to eat more of a regular healthy diet and not do something extreme. But for me, it just I don't know. I didn't have the discipline to do it necessarily. To just kind of like, well, I'll just eat a healthy meal here and a healthy meal there. I needed to be kind of more specific about it.
Yeah.
And I noticed that like taking stuff to work every once, I know that my lunch is 800 calories or something like that ish. And then if I eat it, I'm full until dinner time. But like every once in a blue moon, like all the guys at work were gonna go get like the Bella's sandwiches or something like that. Right. So I figured I'd go on, which is like an enormous sandwich. And so I ate that, and I looked it up, and it was like 1,400 calories, and I was starving 2 hours later.
Yeah.
It was all that bread.
Right.
And I'm like, this is how people get fat because all of a sudden I just want all the carbs in the world.
Yeah, and people talk about that too. Some people will.
But some people can do them and be fine.
Yes. Some people will give you shit about a low carb diet or a keto diet. And again, all I can say, because I have zero medical knowledge, is how I feel when I do it.
Yeah.
And I feel great. And I think this is the way I was meant to eat. Now, some people can process carbs just fine,
Yeah.
And then people want to talk about I get questions all the time about intermittent fasting, and I tell them, I said, look, I I really think you need to try to get on a ketogenic diet and get into ketosis, or at least get super low carb before you try it, because I think it helps. You eat some fat, and fat burns for a longer period of time. I think what they want to do is they look at an intermittent fast as a way just to lose weight. I'm just not going to eat as much, and it's not a good way to do it. I do it more for the health benefits and the way I feel when I eat that way, not for the weight loss. When I went from I went on kind of a mission to, once I started jiu-jitsu, I wanted to lose some weight. So I went from 250, I think it was 254, 255, down to 254 at the beginning of the year, and now I'm down to 218. None of that had to do with intermittent fasting, because I was doing that all before. It was just portion control, an increase in cardiovascular conditioning. I tried the carnivore diet for about a month, and to tell you the honest to God truth, I felt even better going more carnivore. And now my diet is it's still keto, but it pushes way more carnivore than it did in the past.
So what have you added back in? Well, I mean, obviously
some nuts.
Nuts, okay.
And some vegetables, but nowhere near as often, because I don't think I process a lot of vegetables well. I get a lot of gas and bloating. And it's almost in my mind, I can picture these vegetables just rotting in your system, But there are a few.
That, cows have 4 stomachs because that's what they need, that much stomach power to digest grass. But spinach digests really easily. So do carrots. So there's.
What was the first one?
Spinach.
Oh, spinach. So one of the things I add in is spinach.
Low FODMAP.
Yeah. So
vegetables.
I'll have a spinach salad a couple times a week. I don't shy away from vegetables, but the majority of what I eat is eggs and meat and some nuts, and that seems to work really well for me. Yeah. And it's all digestion-wise, just how I feel better.
Yeah.
And again, I can't recommend that to someone because it doesn't make any sense to me why it could be or should be healthy, but
right. Yeah, if people start asking you to quote the scientific literature,
I don't have any.
I just here's my blood results, and here's my lifts, and here's my training log over the past year.
Yeah, I got my blood tested during, towards the end of the carnivore cycle, and like I said, everything other than my cholesterol was great, but my cholesterol is always shitty. So, I don't know. And it was higher. It was definitely higher than normal, but it wasn't outrageous. I didn't go from 180 to 500. It was, it jumped some, but I don't know. We'll see how the statins do, and go from there. But this is you have to balance out some things. So you're going to suffer in some places, and if my cholesterol is high, but my digestion is on point, and I feel healthy, and I move better, and my stamina is better, my blood pressure keeps getting lower. I don't know. I don't know which is a better payoff. Should I feel like shit and have lower cholesterol? I don't know.
Yeah.
But this is what I've chosen to do. But
you're on a good path for sure.
I hope.
How's the jiu-jitsu going?
It's. I have a very addictive personality, especially when it comes to things that are technical.
Yeah.
And throwing. So throwing, the guys who used to work with me at the detention home will tell you, I would sit there and watch throwing videos for 6 hours, and just watch over and over. And now you just walked in and I've got a match playing on the screen, and I can't get enough of it. So I only get the opportunity to take 2 classes a week, and that's self-imposed because I could go in the evenings too, but I don't want to take time away from the family to go wrestle. So I go in the mornings when I don't have any other obligations other than the gym, so I make Pepe work for me. But it is, it's very technical. It's fun to watch yourself get smarter and smarter every class, because when I went in the first day, I was really stupid and would get caught and everything. And it's getting better and better and better. And I kind of relish the times when we have higher level belts come to the morning classes, because I'm going to go back to that same time when I'm going to get caught in everything, but I'm going to learn more, you know. So I really like working with with Paul Jordan, who's the instructor in the morning, and I know he holds back on me, but he leads me down paths where I can get things. You know, it's not like you go in and they just beat the shit out of you and you didn't learn anything. He's like, oh, here's my elbow. What are you going to do with that elbow? And, you know, all of a sudden, oh, okay, there's that elbow there. I can do that with it.
I like fighting a lot. I've never done it. I like watching it. I even like hearing people talk about it, which is weird for a sport that I've never done.
Yeah.
And I've always wanted to do it. I just, right now, I couldn't make it a priority.
Right.
Between, work and, lifting. So, but eventually I'd like to do something like you're doing, maybe 2 classes a week.
Right.
Or something like that.
I was never the guy who said I wish UFC was around when I was younger. Yeah. I'm not that guy. You're never going to see me, in a bar telling people I train MMA, because I have no desire to do that. I've been punched in the nose several times in my life. That's why I sound like this. And I hate it. And I wouldn't want to do that ever again. But this is
it's a little different.
Very cerebral, and it's very gentlemanly. And there's never...
Changes your thinking. I mean, everyone talks about it, changes your thinking. And
oh, totally. Like, you start problem solving through jiu-jitsu, It's weird.
The only... I think the only professional athletes I follow anymore, in terms of Instagram, are like lifters and fighters.
Yeah, me too.
So there was a point when I... probably when I graduated high school or in college, I was, all over I'm from Pittsburgh, the Pittsburgh Steelers and all these, I followed all these different sports. And then as I've progressed in my lifting career or, reading more, other things like that, I've followed, I don't know. People were asking me who the Steelers are going to draft this year. I don't know a single college football player.
I don't either, yeah.
I don't know.
And I would know very few pro football players, or at least I would hear the names, but I wouldn't be sure who they played for.
Peyton Brady, I think, is one.
Right, yeah. Some of the Browns players I know because my son never shuts the fuck up about it. He's addicted. But that's great, being a kid.
It was fun, yeah.
I tell him he just got a jersey with the new guy the Browns drafted, Odell Beckham. He got a jersey with the name on the back of it. But I've been busting his balls ever since his birthday because I said, you can't wear that jersey. And he's like, well, why not? I said, because it's like when you're in high school and you give your jersey to your girlfriend to wear on Fridays at school and so your name's on her back the whole time. I said, it's like you're going to prom with them or something. You can't do that. Have you ever
read, there's a blog post or article called Porn and Football?
Yes, I read it on this show once.
Oh, really?
Yes, and I got made fun of for doing it.
Really?
Yes.
It's one of the best blog posts ever.
Paul Wagner is the guy's name.
And the whole, if anyone hasn't read it, you should read it. But the whole point is they are saying that, porn and football are similar because, men today are not anymore the ones doing anything.
Yes.
They're the ones sitting there and watching.
Yes.
And so, if a 50-year-old man that's living vicariously through whatever his favorite quarterback, and the guy just, the idea of a fat 50-year-old man sitting on a couch and yelling at you piece of shit, you didn't catch the ball.
Right.
It's just so funny. But yeah, they're living vicariously through someone else doing a thing. Yes. Just like if you're watching pornography, you're not actually, you're probably then less, motivated to either go meet a woman or, be attentive to your woman or things like that. And
you should check out Paul Wagner. He's got some. So I would love to get him on the show, and we have some friends in common. He gets accused a lot of times. And now I've read a lot of his stuff, including his books. He gets accused of being racist a lot.
Huh.
I have not read anything racially motivated in any of his books, but he's with this. They have these fight clubs and I don't even know how to describe it, but it's like his is the, God, I want to say it's like the Wolves of Vinland or something like that.
That sounds pretty badass.
Right, but he wrote these books called Operation Werewolf, and they're basically about train, meditate, be more manly, stop being a bitch, this kind of stuff. He's big into like Viking runes and shit.
It's kind of cool.
It's very cool. I have not, and look, if I picked up his book and he was dropping N-bombs all over the place, I wouldn't read it. I'd be like, fuck this guy. He's obviously a child, but I don't get any of that off him. So I don't know where it comes from. Maybe I have not read something that he wrote that I missed. But putting all that aside, that article, Porn and Football, I read it on here, and Malcolm Majeski and Zach Pepe fucked with me for months over reading that thing. But it's beautiful.
I think it's simultaneously hilarious and very, impactful.
Yeah.
I think, your favorite sports team should probably be yourself.
Yes. Right. That's
great,
yeah.
Not that you can't watch sports, but if you put more energy and time and effort and money into following the Green Bay Packers than you do in your own, I guess, athletic pursuit or whatever pursuit you're doing.
Yeah.
It just seems a little backwards.
If you stay up late to watch a Cavs game on the West Coast and you can't make the 6 a.m. class because you stayed up too late to watch that Cavs game, that's an issue.
It's like, did you ever see A Bronx Tale?
Of course. How dare you suggest?
I love mafia movies.
Yeah.
They're probably my favorite genre.
Did you see they made that into a musical?
No.
Yeah, I'm not happy about it. But it's coming to Cleveland.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But go ahead.
What's the kid's name? Cordial in that?
Cologio.
So he's talking. This little kid's talking to Sonny, the mob boss, and he's talking about how much he likes the Yankees. And Sonny's like, they don't care at all about you.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be sad if the Yankees lose. They don't care about you.
What happens if your dad can't make the mortgage? Is Mickey Mantle going to make the mortgage for him?
Right.
Shit. I've showed Hayden that video a bunch of times. That's one of the movies. We talk about raising him in the 80s, so I keep trying to indoctrinate him with all the movies that I loved as a kid. And that's next on the list is A Bronx Tale, because I think it's a great movie for kids.
It's good, especially
a young Italian kid. That's what you're supposed to be watching that shit.
And De Niro in that one is not a mobster; he's the dad.
Yeah, that was based on the guy who played Sonny is Chaz Palminteri. And that was based on his life. Like, he was Cologio in real life. And that was what the movie was based on.
Who's Cologio when he grows up? And there's like a different actor that plays Cologio when he's grown up, right?
Oh, yeah. And that guy later was on The Sopranos.
That guy was on The Sopranos, which is my favorite show of all time.
Oh, yeah.
And he went to jail for like being in the mafia in real life.
No
later.
shit.
Yeah, he got somehow involved in like cocaine dealing and stuff like that. And,
yeah, I remember he was such a douchebag in The Sopranos. They ended up whacking him.
Yeah, he like ran a little like IT computer trading thing.
He would call people up and go, "You motherfucker, you better buy this."
Right, and he like started beating up. He just like tried to use his power too early. He was just like this young mobster who started just beating the shit out of everyone. And Tony was like, you can't.
He was one of Chris's stupid friends.
Yeah, right.
Chris
I watched The Sopranos probably, I think 2 times through.
Yeah.
I'm going to start on the 3rd. That reminds me, the cocaine deal. Have you heard? There's a documentary coming out about the guy that invented like the DeLorean.
Yeah, John DeLorean back in the 80s. Yep.
Have you seen anything about this? So there's a documentary coming out. And I didn't know why. Other than the car, but apparently, like the story behind it, is nuts too. Because he was a higher up, like an engineer at General Motors, I think, like that, who designed some of the early muscle cars. So he became this like larger than life celebrity, and became he thought he was better than General Motors.
Right.
So then and I could be like butchering some of these facts, but I'm not gonna.
That's right.
Let that
Don't let them get in the way.
So then he wanted to start his own car company, but he was more of like an idea sales and marketing guy than an actual engineer. And so then he had this he came up with the DeLorean. He was like getting lending from all these people, and he like borrowed all this money and couldn't pay it. And so then, he like the car wasn't going to go into production unless he could get all this money. So he actually ended up doing some huge multi-million-dollar cocaine deals in order to make the payments to his lenders so that he could get like the first run of like DeLoreans out.
I heard that he had gotten into cocaine deals.
So it's just like this crazy...
Better than fiction, right?
Yeah.
This stuff's out there. I don't know if that guy's still alive or not. That'd be interesting. Sure. I don't know either. I need a young Jamie here to check stats and stuff while we're talking. I need Pepe in here all the time.
Yeah.
Hey, Hayden has asked to do that several times. I'm like, I don't think that's a good idea. And that's another thing we talked about where, blogs go away. There's so many good documentaries out there.
I just watched, this isn't a documentary, but Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil, and Vile. Do you know this?
No, but it sounds like something Aaron would love.
It's about Ted Bundy.
Oh, maybe she did watch that.
Yeah, so I saw it. Cleveland just had its International Film Festival.
Uh-huh.
Which has a ton of...
Did you see the West Side? Yeah.
No, because it was playing at 10 p.m. on a Thursday night.
That's rough.
Yeah.
That's a late one.
I did not see it. But it's West Side versus the World. I think it's going to be out May 6th on iTunes.
Yeah, people have been waiting years. Have you heard? That's a story in itself.
Yeah. I don't know the whole story.
And I got bits and pieces of it, but apparently the reason why, if you're waiting for your West Side versus the World video, like I have 3 people in the gym waiting for it, and they've been waiting 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So like the co-producer was a fraud.
Yeah.
And he scammed them out of a bunch of money, and he scammed a bunch of other people, and he's in prison. And now there was a legal battle over the rights to the movie, and Jesus Christ! But people were. It's funny because every once in a while I'll go on, if they post something, I'll just go to the comments, and it's like
people get so mad.
People in our gym just were like, "Oh, well, we'll probably never get the movie." About $20, but.
I think I might have funded the Kickstarter, but I can't remember. It was so long ago. I remember I looked at the page, whether or not I hit the button or not. I can't remember.
I met the guy who wrote and directed it.
Yeah. Seems like a good guy.
He was a very, very nice guy. He agreed to do the podcast next time he was in town, but this was long before all this shit broke.
Yeah.
So I'd still like to get him on because I'd like to hear the story, and I'm sure there's a ton of people that would like to get that. To hear that story, but that's even a better story than West Side versus the World. I think is what happened to make that movie happen.
I like it when that. So the Ted Bundy movie.
Yeah,
it's called Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil, and Vile because when the judge was sentencing Ted Bundy, that's what that's a direct quote from the judge, and so it stars Zac Efron, and it is about the Ted Bundy story.
Okay.
But it was really well done because, in my opinion, if you're going to make a movie about Ted Bundy, it would be, you could get some cheap thrills by just showing him kill people.
Yes.
And that's, I guess if you're Hollywood, you could do that. That's not what it is. It's more told from the perspective of Ted Bundy's girlfriend.
Uh-huh.
So, there's this, 27-year-old single mom who lives in, I think, Seattle.
Right.
And,
Aaron watched the Ted Bundy tape, so I know some of the story. Yeah.
This I don't think it's even out yet, but since it was at the film festival, I could see it. So there's this, single mom trying to make ends meet. She meets this, very charming guy at a bar in Seattle, and then they start, dating. He's, extremely charming, is a good boyfriend. He claims he's a law student, so every once in a while he kind of disappears for a few days, and he shows back up, but he was studying for this law exam. Okay, that's fine. And then 2 girls go missing in Seattle, and then there's this sketch in the newspaper, and she's like, oh, that kind of looks like him, but I don't really know. And then he gets arrested, and he's like, this is just a big misunderstanding. So it's very fascinating because of how it's told.
It's told from her perspective.
Pretty much, yeah. And it's one of those movies, too, where if it didn't happen in real life, the movie would be stupid.
Yeah.
Because, like Ted Bundy was he escaped from jail twice.
Right. Yeah. In
crazy
ways.
Like at one time he lost 50 pounds so that he could fit through like a ventilation thing. And another time he literally jumped out of a window.
Yeah, and was he practicing to do it too? Like in his cell, he was jumping off his top bunk?
Yep, and he was his own defense attorney. And so when he was his own defense attorney, they gave him access to some like law offices. And so he could, work on his own case. And then he jumped out the window. But if that's our fiction movie, that's the stupidest.
Who would leave a serial killer in?
Right.
Yeah.
Why would you? And he also, he was eventually tried in the state of Florida, and Florida just like passed some law where they nationally broadcast the hearing.
Okay.
So the Ted Bundy broadcast was, you could watch it at home on your television.
Yeah, those stories that are stranger than
better than fiction. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that's what was the one? It was absolutely fucking ridiculous, and it was The Rock and Mark Wahlberg. Do you remember that movie where they were bodybuilders?
Oh, I never saw that one.
It was one of those stories that was like, this is stupid, but it was a true story.
I didn't realize it.
Yeah, and you don't know till the end because it says this stuff actually happened, and then you're like, holy shit, I can't believe that was real. Yeah, it was amazing. I can't remember the name of that goddamn movie is. I don't know, it'll come to me eventually, but it was a good one. Yeah, that was.
I'll check it out.
Yeah, but there's so many good documentaries out there. I watched is it the 5-7 about New York City, or 757, something like that. It was New York City in the 80s, and how corrupt this one branch of the New York City Police Department was, where every single person was on the take, or dealing coke out of their squad cars, or going and beating up drug dealers and stealing their money, or acting as security for drug dealers. It was fucking crazy. 757, I think it's called. It was on Netflix.
Check it out.
Yeah, and the guy who was like the main guy in this was on Rogan a while back, Michael something or other, talking about it, and some of the shit they were whacking guys, and it was crazy.
That's nuts.
Yeah, the other one I want to see is that Cocaine Cowboys, but I haven't been able to find it anywhere.
I watched the Rogan podcast with the director on it.
Yeah, he's doing that Screwball.
Yeah, right. And then I watched Cocaine Cowboys.
Where'd you find it?
I think I bought it I rented it on YouTube for like $3 or something like that.
I didn't know you could do that on YouTube, so I have to check that out.
Yeah, you can rent it on YouTube, and that's a crazy one too.
Yeah,
just Miami was nuts.
Do you ever have you ever read any Carl Hiaasen?
No.
So Carl Hiaasen is he is a columnist for the Miami Herald, and he lives like on one of the Keys. But he writes these incredible, like in the podcast, he mentions that Screwball is not so much a documentary, but it's a Carl Hiaasen-like look at Miami.
Okay, yeah.
And Hiaasen writes these incredible books, like Tourist Season is one, and they're all Tourist Season and Native Tongue, and he's probably got 20 books out. Mm-hmm. But they're hysterical stories that take place in Miami, and they're all fiction, but what he does is he has these stacks and stacks of articles that he's cut out of the Miami Herald that inspire him to write these stories. And a lot of them are based on stupid things that criminals have done in Miami that get into these books. And one of the main characters who runs through all the books is this guy named Skink, who was actually, before he became Skink, he was Clinton Tyree, who was the only honorable governor of Florida, and he was this Vietnam vet, and he was this ex-college football player, and he comes home, and when he gets into office, he can't be bought. And he goes crazy trying to uncorrupt Miami government and do right things by the environment and all these things, and he ends up flipping out, and everyone thinks he dies, but he goes off into the Everglades to live as this mad hermit, and then he becomes this environmental terrorist, or he's going around, blowing up jet skis and things that make that fuck up the environment. It's really good. There's
in the documentary they talk about. I think he said, Los Angeles is or New York is where you go if you are somebody.
Yeah.
Los Angeles is where you go if you want to be somebody, and Miami and Florida is where you go if you want to be somebody else.
Yeah.
Because there's all these, screwy people and like drug dealers and all this, which makes
Have
it
you
exciting.
been to Miami?
I've been to South Beach I was flying back from Mexico from Cozumel, and we had a layover in South Beach in Miami. And
you flew in MIA.
And and the snow was too bad, so we had to stay a night there.
Yeah.
And coincidentally, my buddy's, this is when we were in college, my buddy's uncle happened to be staying at some swanky place in South Beach. He was like a big Wall Street broker, and so he put us up in this so we show up to this one of these crazy nightclubs in South Beach, and we're had just been traveling for 5 days. I'm sure we smelled and are sweaty, and the bouncers looked us up and down like, there ain't no way in hell you're coming to this. And then he's like, oh yeah, he's with us, and he had bottle service right by the street, parked next to these Maseratis and Lamborghinis. So I don't know, that's the only time I've really spent there, that one night.
Yeah, and I am umbilically connected to Southern Florida, and some of that craziness is what draws me to it, because it's just, there's so many oddballs, and there's the mixture of nationalities and
fun.
Different types of people and foods and smells. It's just insane. And last time we were down there, I got into an argument with some crazy religious fanatic who was berating me out of the blue. Like I was just sitting there in traffic and he started screaming at me.
A year.
Yeah, we're looking at...
What's the plan? Have you thought
the plan is... we signed a 5-year lease here.
At the gym.
At the gym. As soon as Hayden graduates, we're out. But he is wavering because the Vermilion Sports, he's a big sports guy, and Vermilion Sports is horrible. So he's like, well, maybe we could just go to Florida and I'll come with you. And yeah, okay, we'll go tomorrow, I have always wanted to move to Florida. Aaron has always moved to Florida, and my whole life there has been some block where I couldn't do it. You know, like something has come up, or I couldn't, or someone wasn't supportive, or yada yada yada. We met, and it was like there's no voice of reason anymore. We're just going. Yeah. So she looks at houses every night. I have a very specific plan for how I want a gym down there. I'm looking at...
Oh, you would do... Okay.
Oh, yeah, we definitely do the gym again.
I wasn't sure, because, I mean, you have enough, I don't know, irons in the fire right now where you can obviously do a podcast.
I love it,
and you can,
I love it.
It's good that you love it.
I would like to get a gym, this is 6,600 square feet. I'd like to get something maybe like 2,000 square feet of indoor space, and then a huge... fenced-in courtyard.
Yeah,
like maybe 3,000.
I see those gyms out in California.
Yes,
some like CrossFit gyms out there that have an outdoor space. It looks really cool to have a squat rack outside. And
right. I thought we could do like wall-mounted rigs that we could fold back in, and I thought about having like
really cool.
But making it fun, like having picnic tables and some kind of bar set up where people can just hang out.
Come visit.
Yeah, and then
swing down.
I want it to be a destination, but we're looking more St. Pete's, which is Gulf side, and obviously farther north than Miami, because we really love the vibe down there, and we keep meeting friends when we go down there. So we've got like four friends down there already, and there's another couple from up here who are moving down, so we'll have like 6 people down there. Yeah. And she's a ex-West Side lifter, so she wants to coach. So I'm like, yeah, let's do it, But what we want to bring down there is our standard programming and less barbell. So more sandbags, more Atlas stones, more tire flipping, more getting creative with the program. If you look at our standard programming, it's getting further and further away from barbell lifting. Mm-hmm. And, I go through there and pick out the barbell and add in an Atlas stone, or I pick out where I've got a barbell and add in a sandbag, and I think it's different. And the thing of it is it's hard to replicate, because if you don't have a background in strongman training, it's hard to teach a soccer mom how to flip a tire, because you don't know what that is. So I think that's why it's not done more often.
Yeah. Well, you also need a bunch more equipment. I mean, a barbell.
A lot more equipment, but the equipment's cheaper.
Right.
You know. So that's what we're looking to bring to the St. Pete, Tampa area. So if you're in that area, look for that in the next few years. It's coming. There's no doubt about it. I know we still get people who are like, oh, they won't move. We're gone. We're already gone in our brains. So,
yeah.
I have told young Pape that if he wants the gym when I leave, it'll be a good deal for whoever wants to buy it. If not, I'm going to load up what equipment I want, and I'm out of here, and we're just going to shut the doors, But I hope somebody takes it over and carries on, because I think the members here deserve it, and I think if the right person got a hold of it, I think they could keep thriving, and I don't want to leave anybody in the lurch, but I think someone will take it over and do a good job with it, you know, and the people that are interested in taking it over, who have come to me, and Zach's one of them, I think I'll have the right brain to do it. No one's going to come in here and start having people, that you're not going to go from Atlas stone loading to a 6 mile row. That's not going to happen. Hopefully, and
probably too many people never make that jump. So that if they have something that they want to do and then they just put it off and put it off and put it off, and then it never happens.
There's a song by Jimmy Buffett called "The Weather Is Here, Wish You Were Beautiful." And it's about this guy who gets fed up with his girlfriend in New York and his job as a stockbroker. And he just flies to the islands one day, and then when he's down there, he meets a stewardess, and he's like, fuck it, I'm never going home. So he just packs everything up and goes back down there and stays there the rest of his life. Like the Alchemist. Yes, yes.
You're going to sell off your flock.
Yep.
And just
you're
go
out.
After your, your personal legend.
Yeah. That's, it's... life is too short to live like we're living today. You got in a fucking car wreck on your way here, dealing with horrible weather and shitty drivers, and it's just too short. We got to get out of here and get out of here soon. My major concern right now is finding a jiu-jitsu school over there that'll keep me moving forward.
They're popping up all over,
oh,
right?
God. Oh, especially in South Florida, they are fucking everywhere. There's so many Brazilians down there.
Oh, yeah.
It's good, so I don't, whatever belt I'm at when I go down there, I'm hopefully I'm gonna have a talk with the instructor. Hey, I just want to have that white belt mentality and just keep me moving forward. I'm not here to.
What belt are you now?
I'm just a white belt. I just started in February.
What's the next one up?
Blue. So you go stripes. So you get your white belt, then you have to earn 3 stripes, and then blue belt, and you earn 3 stripes. And it's white, blue, purple, brown, black.
Okay.
So, and they say it takes about 10 years of training to get your black belt, which is good because...
That is good. I remember when I was growing up, I knew kids that were like 12 years old that were like a karate black belt. I'm like, how is that even possible?
You never see that in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that makes the other martial arts... Oh, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to say they're a joke. They're not an effective fighting system, because I don't care if you're a black belt. If you're 10 years old, I'm just going to throttle you. You know, I mean...
That's what's awesome about martial arts, is that you can figure out which one's the best.
Yeah.
You just fight.
Yeah, UFC did that, right? It's just like, let's put them together. And see
I wish there were that opportunity with, like, diet or training systems, or because there's no really good way to, like, put them head to head.
Yeah.
But fighting's so black and white like that.
UFC changed the face of an activity that was thousands of years old and steeped in mystery about what is the best. And all of a sudden, after all these thousands of years or hundreds, it's like, oh, we'll just fight them and see who's the best. Oh, fuck. Now I've got to...
Imagine if you spent your whole life thinking that...
That's why you still have schools popping up for karate. There's one in my hometown, a karate school.
Yeah.
And there's cops there. You'll see like cop cars get their self-defense there. I'm like,
look. It reminds me of like River Austin Powers.
Yes.
You'd be like, judo.
Chop. That's what it is, right? Or Rex Kwon Do, you know?
Like the bad guy's just going to stand there with their hands up, and then you're going to do a judo chop.
So we started, when I was at the sheriff's department, we did Police Aikido. And Police Aikido is what Steven Seagal does. So you catch the punch.
I think I just saw some video. I think Dana White shared it.
Yeah, the Aikido guy getting manhandled.
Yeah.
But you're supposed to catch a punch, and then use his momentum against it, and then turn it into a wrist lock. It's like, have you ever been in a fist fight? That is never going to work.
Right.
And then we moved from Police Aikido to what was it called? Combat grappling, and we had a judo guy come in.
This is for work
when I was in the sheriff's department.
Yeah.
So this guy Chris Carrion, who's a fantastic guy, came in and taught us how to basically do jiu-jitsu, at very low level jiu-jitsu. Right. So we learned chokes and arm bars, and it obviously it wasn't anything
like you're doing now.
Like we're doing now, but it was, this makes sense. This I can do this with a guy when he's on, when I've got him turtled down on all fours, this is how I get him over to get his handcuffs on, All that shit made sense to me. But it's amazing to me that we still have karate schools up, and I think it's great for kids as far as they're moving and they're athletic and they're learning discipline and confidence. But for an adult man to go in and start taking karate,
this is my horse stance,
right? I learned a kata today.
Yeah, I do want to do it now. The more you talk about it, because I feel like it's almost like a like if you're a 220-pound male, you should be able to carry. I don't know what I would do. I would just tackle the person, I guess, and start from there.
Well, it's good for us because that's how fights with guys our size end up,
Yeah. I would stand more chance just tackling the person to the ground than I would standing up and, throwing hands.
Right.
But I feel like it's your, I don't know, like duty or your responsibility to know how to at least hold your own.
Well, that's
so I should be able to do
Paul Wagner we were talking about earlier. That's what that's one of his things. He's a jiu-jitsu guy. It's in 2 months. It has a weird effect on your confidence because you learn so much in every time you go to one of these classes. So it's funny now because I can walk into a restaurant and just go, I know what I would do if that guy jumped on me. I will choke that motherfucker out with his own sweatshirt.
Right.
And it's absolute confidence.
And it would never really happen. I guess the only way it would probably happen is if like a drunk guy started doing something to your wife or girlfriend or something like that.
Yeah.
That's the only time I've been close before.
Yeah, absolutely. And
I'm always like ashamed because at one time I didn't do anything, but I should have.
Right.
Because the guy was drunk, but I probably should have done something.
Yeah.
Just kind of.
Well, those, and I told my son this, that these opportunities happen in a man's life. It's very rare that you go through an entire life where there isn't some moment where you have to put your hands on somebody at some point, even if it's just to protect the people around you. I would never. The last thing on my mind is to go out for the evening and I might get into a fist fight. It'd be horrible. It'd make even if you won, it would be a horrible night.
Yeah. Like I got to train tomorrow. I can't get a fight.
But there's a confidence now, even after just a couple months, where it's like, there's if that guy does something stupid, or if that guy's acting a little squirrely over there, I'll just take him down and choke the shit out of him.
Yeah.
And it won't be that bad.
Right. In 2 months, you certainly have enough to just beat any regular drunk dude.
I honestly think that, and the other thing is, once you, I heard this the other day in a podcast, that once you reach the level of blue belt, you can pretty much beat the shit out of 99% of the people on the planet.
Yeah,
because
unless they're a college wrestler.
Right, and I tell you what, the blue belts are fucking savages in our gym.
Yeah.
I mean, they are fucking animals. I mean, and I wouldn't want to run into one of those guys on the street.
Yeah.
At any level with any experience.
I'm sure it humbles you a lot.
It does, man. And blue belts are vicious because they're like rattlesnakes, like baby rattlesnakes, because baby rattlesnakes are always much scarier because if you step on a baby rattlesnake, they don't know how to minimize the amount of poison they let into you, so they just let it all go. Where an adult will bite you and just give you enough poison to Blue belts are like that. They know enough to fucking kill you, but they don't know enough not to fucking kill you. So they're fucking deadly, you know. And but they're the guys I like to roll with the most, you know. Yeah. We got one guy in the gym.
Where is it?
Paul Jordan's. It's Chutubra, Brazil Jiu-Jitsu.
Sounds like a Japanese steakhouse.
It does, right? It's Chutubu Braza Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Judo in Avon. And Paul is a national champion in judo and also very high level jiu-jitsu. And then the main instructor for jiu-jitsu is Yurik, and he is a black belt in jiu-jitsu. And it's I take the 7 a.m. class. There's also 7 p.m. classes, and it's a very good environment to learn. And yeah, I mean, it's probably not too far from you if you wanted to do it.
Yeah, I could do it on a weekend maybe, but I work on the east side. There's gyms all over.
There's a Gracie Jiu-Jitsu right in downtown Cleveland somewhere. I saw it online,
wow.
Yeah. So, and it looks like they're pretty fantastic looking too, just from the website. But it's been a good experience, and I'm enjoying it. It's fun to watch an MMA fight now, and you can see that what's going on, and when it's on the ground, it's not boring. There's shit going on, you know. There's a chess match happening, and it's fun to watch. Yeah,
there's something about it. You don't have to know any of the role. Like if you watch a rugby game and people are like, "What is going on here?" Or someone watches American football. Anyone in the world can watch a fight. And you know exactly who's winning, losing. You know what's happening.
Yeah.
So there's something just pretty, I don't know, instinctual about it.
Yeah. Do you get to watch many UFC fights? I don't get to. I get to see the highlights the next day.
Every once in a while, if I don't have something. I mean, they're on so late.
That's what I said.
I'm jealous.
You're young though. You should be able to do that.
I can. I just. So I remember. I like the last fight I bought was. And when a lot of people get all their buddies and go to the Buffalo Wild Wings or something like that, I just sit on my couch at home and I'm just by myself watching it, which is the way I want to do it. But the last one I bought the McGregor Khabib fight, which good for me because that was a great one because it had that, it had the Max Holloway won that fight too, and so did who's the Derek Lewis?
Yeah. Oh,
there was
my
this
balls
one
are sweating.
Yeah, that was a great card, and I had no idea about any of those guys other than McGregor. But then the not Max Holloway. Who's the other? I'm never going to be able to remember it now. But the Derek Lewis was like losing by a mile, and then just hit like just straight right in the final round, and.
There's
Tony Ferguson. That's who won that night. That guy was nuts to watch too.
Yeah, Khabib is scary. That guy is just. I don't know how anyone would beat that guy. He's just so adept once he gets his hands on you that, you know. I mean, he made McGregor look ridiculous. You know.
Yeah.
And they talk about. I don't know if you've seen Ben Askren fight. He was not impressive in his last fight. His first fight in UFC against Robbie Lawler. Robbie Lawler was taking him to task, and there's a kind of a controversial stoppage. Did he get Lawler to sleep, or was he okay? And who knows? But
it's crazy how small some of these guys are too.
Yeah, right.
People don't realize if I'm 220 pounds, I'm bigger than all of them.
I looked at jiu-jitsu competitions,
Stipe,
and that's super heavyweight. Is 220 pounds.
Oh, really?
99 kilos and up.
I'm a lightweight strongman, and I'm a super heavyweight boxer or fighter.
What weight class are you in at 218?
It was a United States strongman,
right.
So they have a 220 class.
Okay. Well, be careful that they have a 220 class, because I qualified one year in the 242 class and got there, and they went, "Oh no, we don't have one of those here. You got to go with the super heavyweights."
Oh, really?
I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Because not enough guys showed up for it.
Oh, were you doing masters?
Yeah.
Maybe. Okay.
Fuck that nonsense. That was bullshit.
Yeah, sometimes they merge classes at the last second.
Well, my thought was, okay, I'll go with the super heavyweights, but I'm the champ, right? At 242, is that what I am? Do I get to be the champ? No, you just have to go with the super heavyweights.
Yeah.
That's bullshit. I should at least get to be the champ. I'm the only one who made weight.
That's funny. So there's a 220. I think the next thing I'm doing is probably the Highlander
Oh, good.
I told everyone I told all the guys that were in my category, like, you guys had to do the Highlander. It's like the most fun. I've done it twice now. It's the most fun I've ever had at a competition because
That's great
it's
to hear.
outside. Beautiful weather.
Yep.
You get to wear a kilt, which is fun.
We're in a slightly different field this year. Different location, but same. Actually, it's a better view.
Yeah. There's music. People bring their dogs.
Free beer.
My parents come out every year. They told me, they're like, even if you don't do it this year, we'd probably still go.
That's awesome.
They're kidding, but
we had a problem with the city. The Parks Department couldn't figure out. They wanted to charge us to use the park, but they couldn't give us a dollar amount. So they kept stalling. Finally said, "Fuck it, we'll just have it at the gym." And then the Chamber of Commerce called me and said, No, we want you to have it in Vermilion. We love the event. We'll deal with the Parks Department. You just get rid of it. They said the only stipulation they had is they asked if we would mind moving to this other park because this one neighborhood has been begging for an event and they never get any events. And I live in the town. I didn't even know the park existed. So me and Aaron drove back there and we're like, this is beautiful.
Yeah.
How is this not being used? We said, yeah, absolutely. Sign us up. So it's in a even prettier location where you can actually see the lake from the field. I mean, it's like right there.
Yeah.
And there's a little beach there, and we're super psyched for it. We've got.
I like the natural stones too. You're doing
yes, that should be fun.
Husafell, and also the
stone to
shoulder. I've never done that before.
We tried to mix the events up a little bit, do something different. Natural stone to shoulder, I think is super cool, and I think it's gaining some popularity after
the Arnold.
Yeah. So I think that'll be good. But we try to treat these things now. We had a change in philosophy where we call them gatherings now instead of competitions. There's obviously people who win and stuff, and we'll get awesome awards for you, but they're gatherings. Well, we want people to come there and have fun and party and stay around in town and go to the restaurants, and just every year you get to see your pals that you didn't get to see, for the last 6 months or something.
And with like 2 throwing events and 3 heavier, you don't get too beat up.
Yeah. And it's the throwing events are the easiest ones. I mean,
right?
They're so, and we usually do some kind of clinic.
Each other.
Yes.
Wasn't a thrower, but I had a blast. I had a blast last year training for it.
Yeah.
I had what's his name, Mike Landrick.
Yeah, Landrich. Yeah.
I had him make me a 56-pound. So I take it. I have like a that and a stone for a Braemar stone in my trunk, so I can drive down to Edgewater Park and go down there, and there's people like laying out. I'm just throwing rocks.
It's like you're a weirdo.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. I'm glad you're going to do that one. I think it's going to be this is going to be our best one. And the other thing I told people was like some of the high-level pro strongmen are bitching because they can't compete anywhere other than pro strongman. So there's not
because it's all sanctioned. Yeah. So this is unsanctioned. Yeah.
We're unsanctioned. Just come out and do whatever you want, and use it as a training day.
Should get Brian Shaw to show up or something.
Yeah, right. I might have to pay him a little bit extra than the $100 for winners to get him to come out for that, but
probably be worthwhile.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like we have people showing up for the gym for the class today. So let's go ahead. You going to stick around, train a little bit?
Yeah, let's do it.
Awesome. You can get at least something out of your wrecked car. Jesus.
Yeah, people hydroplaning in front of you is not a fun way to start the day, but
dreary, shitty spring weather in Ohio. Well, this has been awesome. We'll obviously do this again, probably many, many more times. So we'll shut this down. And this has been Dollar Bill Boyer on the Refined Savage. See ya.